Hi, my name is Gwen Clayton, and I'm a translator working from German and Japanese into English. Today, I'm going to read an excerpt from my sample translation of With Moby Dick on a Container Ship by Roland Schwarz, published by Verlag Anton Pustet in 2022. This translation is seeking a publisher, and you can find my contact details in the description. This book is a collection of stories about the transformative power of reading, and this particular story is about Harry Potter. In the summer of 1997, when a children's book about an 11-year-old apprentice magician appeared, nobody suspected that a new era for young adult literature in the fantasy genre had just been ushered in. The result was a boom that quickened the pulses of publishers, parents, and teachers around the world. Children and young adults were reading again. Further volumes followed, which were translated into dozens of languages and have sold more than 500 million copies. Several other successful fantasy series appeared in the wake of this giant Harry Potter wave. The hype continues unabated, and novels from this genre have long been bestsellers for all ages. For this, one cannot thank J.K. Rowling enough. What's more, for one child from Ukraine, her fascination with the magical world of Hogwarts led not only to a magical reading experience and increased self-confidence, but also a place to study at the University of Oxford. Our story starts in Kyiv at the beginning of the second millennium, and with 13-year-old Tetiana, who is a bit of an outsider. She's not remotely interested in fashion, wears large glasses, sits at the front of the classroom, spends her breaks in the school library, and is often teased by her classmates for being uncool. Her only friend is an older student who works as a library assistant in the lunch break. However, Tetiana does not really mind being alone, since it gives her more time for her favourite activity, reading. Her absolute favourite series is Harry Potter. Now, Harry Potter follows an established literary tradition in coming-of-age novels, since it is about a misfit who becomes a hero. The apprentice magician is taken in by relatives when he is orphaned, and they dismiss and mistreat him, so that he spends the first 10 years of his life lonely, misunderstood, and rejected. It's only when he enters the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry that he finds friends, soulmates, and father figures. Tetiana is fascinated by the story of the young boy who is not understood and yet believes in himself, who is mocked and bullied, but nevertheless feels that he is something special and will achieve something unique. She feels connected to and understood by Harry and his friends, and she learns that it is fine to be different. All of this gives her a sense of comfort and security and increases her self-confidence. Fantasy literature is often characterized as offering an opportunity for escapism, something to enable the reader to get away from reality into a parallel world where ultimately the good always wins. Such flights from reality can be seen as an indulgence. After all, make-believe worlds will never solve real problems. However, these accusations are absurd, since every kind of fiction enables escape from everyday life. That's the magic of literature. Expecting a book to solve real-life problems is not a realistic objective. In the meantime, a fantasy like Harry Potter offers plenty of connections to the real world. This magical parallel world is set in England in the late 20th century, in a boarding school with both well-behaved and disobedient children, and just the same issues and conflicts that affect us in real life. This is a world that every school child can relate to, and Tetiana did not find it hard to disappear into this world as soon as she opened her first book. When the Soviet Union collapsed in the late 1980s, one of the things the newly independent states had to change was the school curriculum. In Ukraine, Russian lost its official status and consequently its significance in schools. English is now the language that opens the door into the big wide world. Tetiana had the misfortune of receiving English lessons from a Russian teacher who had reinvented himself as an English teacher over the summer to hold on to his teaching position. The general language ability of the new English instructors in general remained limited for many years after the Cold War, and the progress of their students was poor. This situation was especially hard for Tetiana, who was ambitious and enthusiastic about languages. She daydreamed about the world out there. How wonderful, how sublime it must be to read the popular Harry Potter novels in their original language and to experience the English world of magic in English. And so to a great extent, she taught herself English, ordering course books and language learning CDs and finding herself 2 English pen friends. One of the fascinating aspects of the Harry Potter series is that the language and style of the books changes with each volume, growing up, as it were, with the main protagonist. Each volume corresponds to one school year, and every year Harry Potter becomes more mature, more educated, and more eloquent. In Volume 1, the boy is only 11, and accordingly the language is oriented towards readers of that age. It therefore was not long before the lively Tatiana managed to read the first book, The Philosopher's Stone, in English. Since she enjoyed it so much, she ordered Volume 2 straight away. Tatiana's level of English increased with each new volume. She was able to read the final volume in English straight away. While her classmates, who had in the meantime also jumped on board the Hogwarts Express, waited impatiently for the saga's grand finale, Tatiana was already able to boast about how well it ended. And every year the girl who'd once been sneered at for being a nerdy swot became more and more accepted by her peers. It goes without saying that Tatiana graduated from high school with a very good grade in English. During her final year of school, she applied to study at the University of Oxford. In her application, she mentioned the adventures at Hogwarts as having been one of the motivations for her wanting to learn English. The admissions committee, impressed, offered her a place and raised the prospect of a scholarship for gifted foreign students. They also pointed out, as a friendly aside, that some of the locations used in the Warner Brothers films were to be found in the venerable halls of the university, so Tatiana had definitely come to the right place. At the time of writing, that's where she still is, in her final year of studies. Naturally, she visited all the film locations in the intervening years and loves the books more than ever, and the first edition of The Philosopher's Stone still graces her bookshelf alongside countless academic titles.